Hey, what's up, guys? This is Colin Reese. Chelsea manager Thomas Tuchel is considered by many to be perhaps the top football manager in the world. But for me, Thomas Tuchel is someone that takes all the joy out of football. I used to be a big Chelsea fan in the sense that I liked watching them play because of the quality of their players. And this is before Thomas Tuchel became the Chelsea manager. And Chelsea have one of the deepest and most talented teams in all of world football. So I enjoyed watching their players. But as soon as Thomas Tuchel became the manager, he changed the team into a really overly defensive team. And they did win the Champions League. But for me, it was kind of like someone in checkers that never moves their back row. And I found just the overly defensive nature of Chelsea just so annoying and boring that it really made me not want to watch anymore. And even though I'm American, I like watching Christian Pulisic, whom Thomas Tuchel doesn't always play. I still liked watching Chelsea because of all their other players, but now I just really don't watch anymore. One of the things that I want to point out about Thomas Tuchel is someone that cares more about forcing players into his formation than he does about adjusting the formation around the players. And, I'm not in the locker room, obviously, but he's not exactly one to coach and improve players. And I'm sure lots of people will disagree with that, and there's probably some evidence that refutes that. But if you kind of look at his track record, you can see that he's not really big on coaching players. For instance, he let Fikayo Tomori go to AC Milan, which was great for me because I'm a AC Milan fan. But Fikayo Tomori is probably, I would say, he is the best English defender. And he actually didn't play in the Euros for England, probably because of their bias against players not playing in the Premier League. But Thomas Tuchel let Fikayo Tomori go to AC Milan, and then he let Tammy Abraham go to Roma. And Tammy Abraham's a totally complete striker. He's fast and direct and technical. He's good in the air. He's good with both feet. He makes a lot of runs without the ball. If he's not getting the ball, he'll drop back and make a lot of runs so that he involves himself in the game. And anyone that was a real coach and a real talent scout wouldn't be sending people like Tomori and Abraham packing. So that's just one little example. And another one is that although he's played them together recently, one of the things in the past that was really good about Chelsea is that their midfield, they had Jorginho, Mateo Kovacic, and N'Golo Kante starting together. And Thomas Tuchel routinely doesn't start all three of them, and he'll sometimes leave Kante on the bench when probably anyone in the world would never bench N'Golo Kante. And then sometimes he has Kovacic on the bench. But with the way he does his formations, when he has the four-man midfield, he frequently only has two midfielders out there. So it's either Jorginho and Kante or Jorginho and Kovacic. And he's essentially using five defenders because he has the two outside midfielders there are defenders, and then he has his three-man back line. And then when he does the 3-5-2, he then has Kovacic, who's actually was really a 10. He was a 10 at a 10 or Regista at Inter, and actually at Real Madrid, the newspaper Marca once wrote an article raving about how technical and skillful Kovacic was as an attacking midfielder, as a 10. And the way that Thomas Tuchel uses him, he forces him to really be more of a central midfielder than a number 10. And all of his tactics are about just high pressing and then, getting winning the ball back and then having scoring a goal on transition and the counterattack. And this is just the opposite of the football that I like to watch and the way that football is supposed to be played. So a lot of people have raved Thomas Tuchel because of him winning the Champions League, but I think he could have won the Champions League without being so defensive. If you remember in the final, Havertz scored off of that counterattack where he had this like 50-50 ball with the keeper, and they both collided and the ball popped up, and then Havertz like quickly got on it again and scored. But that was actually the only reason they won the Champions League final. It was just one kind of counterattack like that, and it was somewhat luck in that Havertz got the favorable topspin bounce when he collided with the goalkeeper. So it's not like Chelsea dominated that game. And I just think that Thomas Tuchel makes it all about himself. And like I said earlier, he forces players into the formation he wants to use. And his job as a coach is to get the most out of his players and to adjust his formations and squad based on the quality of his players. And then just from an aesthetic standpoint, it's no longer really that fun to watch Chelsea anymore. People want to watch football play like Brazil. They don't want to watch, overly defensive tactics where you might get a goal off of a counterattack and where your coach insists on selling really good players and just has to bring in more and more players. Like Chelsea already had an amazing striker in Abraham, and they had some other strikers, and he insisted on bringing Romelu Lukaku. And so if he was really that good of a coach, he wouldn't need to bring in another striker like that when he already had excellent strikers. And, time will tell how Lukaku does, but Lukaku is improving by playing in Serie A for Inter Milan. So it's possible you won't see Lukaku playing as well for Chelsea as he did for Inter Milan. But anyway, that's what I want to say about Thomas Tuchel. He makes me not want to watch Chelsea, and I probably won't be watching them for a while. Thanks everyone for tuning in. See you next time.